My friends, let me begin by saying this: life will never stop testing you. The storms will come, the winds will howl, and there will be moments when the world seems to push hard against your spirit. And in those moments, what you show on the outside can either reflect the chaos or it can reflect the strength within you. Today, I want to speak to you about something that might sound strange at first, but I assure you it holds tremendous power. Learn to act as if nothing bothers you. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Preacher, you're telling me to fake it. And I understand that question. But I want to make something clear right from the start. This is not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's not about stuffing your emotions to a box and locking them away. No. This is about choosing to respond with purpose rather than reacting with impulse. It's about spiritual and mental discipline, not denial. You see, there's a kind of strength that doesn't shout, and it doesn't throw punches or make a scene. It walks calmly through the fire. It holds its peace while others unravel. And it says to the world, "You will not shake me today." That's the kind of strength we're aiming for. That's what it means to act as if nothing bothers you. Not because you don't feel pain or frustration, but because you've chosen not to give those feelings the driver's seat. When a tree stands tall in the storm, it doesn't mean the wind isn't blowing. It simply means the roots run deep. Likewise, when you learn to carry yourself with calm, even as troubles swirl around you, it doesn't mean your heart doesn't ache or your mind isn't racing. It means you've developed a quiet, deliberate strength. You've planted your roots deep in something greater than circumstances. The world is watching you, whether you realize it or not. They're watching to see how you carry yourself when things don't go your way. They're watching to see if your peace is real or if it crumbles under pressure. And here's what I've learned in my own walking: when you act as if nothing bothers you, not out of pride, but out of peace. Not people take notice, not you're pretending, but because you're practicing something powerful. You're showing what it looks like to live from the inside out, not the outside in. Now listen closely, because this part matters. Your ability to act unbothered isn't just for the world, it's for you. It gives you space to think clearly. It keeps you from making rash decisions. It shields your soul while you process what's really going on. It's like walk through a battlefield with armor on. The arrows may still fly, but they don't pierce you the same way. But make no mistake, this is not an overnight transformation. It's a learned behavior. It's a discipline. Just like a musician practices scales or an athlete trains daily, we too must train our minds and spirits. You will fall short sometimes. You will slip. But that doesn't mean you stop practicing. Each time you pause instead of snapping back, each time you breathe instead of breaking down, you're building something sacred inside of you. You're teaching yourself that peace is possible, even when the situation isn't peaceful. Now, let me ask you this. What would change in your life if you stopped letting every little offense disturb your soul? If you stopped giving your energy to things that aren't worth your peace? How many times have we allowed a small comment, a sideways glance, or a moment of rudeness to ruin an entire day? When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you take back that day, you take back your joy, you reclaim your authority over your own mood and mindset. That doesn't mean you ignore injustice or let people walk all over you. No, it means you choose your battles wisely. It means you respond with strength instead of reacting out of weakness. It means you live with your head high, not because life is easy, but because you've decided not to let every storm knock you off course. And when you do that, when you begin to carry yourself with that unshakable calm, it's not just you who changes. The atmosphere around you begins to shift. People feel it. They sense something different. You become a pillar, a steady presence in a world that's constantly shifting. And more importantly, you begin to believe in your own strength, not the kind that boasts, but the kind that simply endures. So I say to you, walk through the fire with your head high. Smile when they expect you to frown. Hold your peace when the world demands a reaction. And above all, trust that the storm around you is no match for the stillness within you. Let the world wonder how you stay so calm. Let them ask where your strength comes from. And may your answer be written not just in words, but in the way you live. My beloved friends, there's something the Lord has placed heavy on my heart, and I believe it's something many of us wrestle with daily. It's the matter of how we respond, not just to the big storms, but to the little moments, the whispers, the glances, the unexpected jabs that life throws our way. It's easy to act composed when all is well, but the true test of character is how we carry ourselves when something rubs us the wrong way. That's when we must learn to detach emotionally from immediate reactions. Now, I'm not saying emotions are bad. God gave us emotions for a reason. We feel joy and sorrow, anger and compassion. These are not weaknesses. They are part of the human design. But hear me closely. Emotions are not meant to drive the car. They're passengers on the journey, not the ones steering the wheel. And when we allow our feelings to grab the wheel, even for a moment, they can take us places we never intended to go. How many times have we spoken words in anger that we later regretted? How many situations have we made worse because we didn't take a moment to breathe before we reacted? I've seen marriages strained, friendships broken, opportunities missed, not because the situation was beyond repair, but because someone let the heat of the moment dictate their behavior. And I've done it too. We all have. But we must learn and we must grow. There is a holy strength in pausing, power in silence. When someone disrespects you, when life disappoints you, when the pressure is mounting, your ability to pause, to detach just long enough to see clearly can change everything. That pause is not weakness. That pause is wisdom. It is the space where clarity enters. It is the place where your spirit rises above your flesh. I'm not telling you to ignore injustice or swallow every insult. No, I'm telling you to take the time to respond from your higher self, not your lower impulses. And if you belong to God, that higher self is always within you, strong, patient, grounded, and kind. That part of you does not need to prove itself, does not need to shout to be heard. It does not need to fight every battle. It knows that some things simply aren't worth the energy. It knows that dignity often speaks loudest in silence. It reminds me of a man I once met, an old gentleman full of wisdom with lines on his face carved by time and trials. He told me, the first 5 seconds after something offends you are the most dangerous. If you can hold your tongue for 5 seconds, you'll usually hold your peace for the rest of the day. And friends, I found that to be true. That little space, that moment of restraint is holy ground. It's where grace enters. You see, when you react emotionally to every little thing, you hand over your power. You let someone else decide how you'll feel, how you behave, even how you'll sleep at night. But when you learn to step back and observe your own reaction, to see it rising and choose not to be ruled by it, you begin to walk in real strength, not the kind the world gives, the kind that lasts, the kind that blesses you and those around you. This practice, this detachment is not about coldness or apathy. It's not about pretending not to care. It's about being grounded. It's about standing on a rock when the tides of emotion try to pull you under. Sometimes that rock is simply a breath, a prayer, a moment of stillness when everything in you wants to lash out. That's where character is built. That's where God whispers. You don't have to respond like the world. I've called you higher. And let me tell you, people will notice. They may not say it out loud, but they'll see the calm in your eyes when others are shouting. They'll feel the peace in your presence. The room is tense. And they'll begin to wonder, what is it that sets you apart? That, my friends, is how light shines in the darkness. That is how you lead without needing to control. That is how you win battles without ever raising your voice. You are not a slave to every emotion. You are not a puppet to every provocation. You are a child of the Most High filled with a spirit of power, love, and self-control. Let that truth settle into your bones. Let it remind you that you are never at mercy of how you feel. You can pause. You can detach and still care. You can walk away and still forgive. So the next time that heat rising in your chest, the next time you hear words that sting or see a situation that tempts you to react, remember this peace is still an option. Strength is still available. You are still in control of how you show up. And sometimes the strongest thing you can daub is nothing at all. My dear friends, there is a kind of peace this world cannot offer, and yet it is a peace we all desperately need. I believe with all my heart that many of our burdens come not just from what happens to us, but from how tightly we try to hold on to things we were never meant to carry. We lose our strength not because life is too hard, but because we're pouring our energy into battles we were never called to fight. And so I say to you tonight, learn to control the controllables and let go of the rest. You see, there's a deep freedom that comes when we stop trying to grip the wind with our bare hands, when we stop trying to rearrange every piece of the puzzle to fit our expectations. Life doesn't unfold on our schedule. People don't always behave the way we think they should. The path is not always straight. The answers are not always clear. And the outcomes don't always make sense But that's not where your power lies. Your power is not in things that happen to you. Your power is in how you choose to respond. The world will try to convince you that peace is found in having control over others, control over the future, control over outcomes. But the truth is, much of what happens in this life will always be outside your hands. And if your peace depends on the outside, you'll always be one phone call, one bad day, one mistake away from losing it. But when your peace is anchored in the things you control, your thoughts, your reactions, your choices, then no one and nothing can take it away. God didn't promise us an easy road. It has to be He didn't say we'd always be comfortable or understood, but he did say he'd never leave us. He did say we could have peace in the middle of trouble. And that peace begins with surrender, not a surrender that means giving up, but a surrender that means trusting what we cannot change to the hands of the one who can. It means putting down the burdens that were never ours to carry in the first place. What can you control truly? You can control your mindset. You can wake up each morning and decide whether you will carry worry or carry gratitude, whether you will feed your fear or feed your faith. You can choose how you speak to others, how you carry yourself in adversity, how you treat people even when they don't treat you well. These are the things within your power. And when you pour your energy into these things, your life begins to take on a strength the world cannot understand. But when we chase control over everything else, over people's opinions, over the decisions of others, over the twists and turns of life, how quickly we wear ourselves out. We become tired, bitter, anxious, frustrated because we're trying to do God's job. We're trying to be in places we were never called to stand. And I tell you today, there is no shame in letting go. There is no weakness in saying, Lord, this part is too big for me. I trust you with it. Let me tell you something. There are people who will never understand you, no matter how many times you explain yourself. There are situations that won't go your way, even when you give it your best. There will be disappointments, detours, delays. But that doesn't mean your peace has to be shaken. It means your faith has to rise. And it means you lean harder into the quiet voice of God that says, be still and know that I am God. Every time you let go of what you can't control, you reclaim energy for what you can. You build your character. You grow in patience. You develop resilience. You stop living in reaction. You start living in purpose. And the people around you, they'll feel it. They'll see a person who isn't shaken by every wave, who isn't caught up in every storm, who walks with a quiet kind of authority. And they'll wonder, what is it about them? And you'll know it's not apathy, it's peace. It's wisdom. It's trust. Friends, this isn't easy. This isn't something you master in a day. It takes practice. It takes prayer. It takes a willingness to stop clinging to every outcome and start clinging to the one who holds the future. But I promise you, when you begin to release what's beyond you, you'll find that what is within your reach becomes far more powerful. You'll live light. You'll walk free. You'll respond wiser. So don't waste another hour wrestling with what you cannot change. Still be in a stand firm in what you can and let the rest go into the hands that have never failed. My dear friends, let me speak to you plainly tonight from a place of truth that has carried me through many seasons. There are times in life when our words may fail us. There are moments when we can't always find the perfect thing to say. But do you know what still speaks? Your body, your tone, your presence. And when the world tries to shake you, when trouble stands before you like a mountain, how you carry yourself can be the very message that says, I am still standing. You see, the way you present yourself, your body language, your facial expressions, your voice, it tells the world whether you are calm or in chaos, whether you are in control or unraveling. It speaks volumes before you even open your mouth. And if you want to learn to act as if nothing bothers you, then you must master not just what you say, but how you say it, how you show it. I believe this with all my heart. Even when the heart is heavy, you can still walk in peace. Even when the storm is raging inside you, you can still speak gently, still hold your head high, still walk like someone whose strength comes from something deeper than what the eye can see. And that's not just for the sake of others, it's for your own soul. Because when you train your body to reflect peace, your spirit starts to follow. I've seen it too many times. People who crumble under pressure, not because they weren't strong, but because they let their fear show on their face. They let the situation dictate their tone, their posture bent beneath the weight of the moment. And my friends, I don't say that to condemn anyone. I say it because we've all been there. I've been there. We've all let frustration show before we even speak a word. But the good news is we can change that. We can choose differently. There is something holy about standing tall when your world feels like it's falling apart. There's something powerful about looking someone in the eye, not with pride, but with the quiet confidence that says, you won't steal my peace today. Your calm presence in the middle of chaos becomes a testimony in itself. It says, I know who I am. I know whose I am. And I don't have to raise my voice to prove anything. I want to encourage you to be aware of your breath in those tough moments. Slow it down. Deepen it. The breath is the bridge between the body and the spirit. When you breathe with intention, your nervous system starts to settle, your mind becomes clearer, and your words become more measured. Just as a singer controls their breath to carry a note, so must we learn to carry our peace through our breath. And it's not just breath, it's posture. Hold your shoulders back. Keep your chin up. Look forward, not down. When you carry yourself like someone who is grounded, even when you don't feel like it, something begins to shift inside of you. You begin to believe what your body is telling you. I can handle this. That's not arrogance. That's stewardship of your presence. That's discipline. Now, I know some of you may say, but preacher, what if I don't feel calm? What if I'm full of fear, full of worry? And I'll say this, sometimes we must walk like we are free before we feel free. Sometimes we must speak like we are strong before we feel the strength. Because our faith is not in what we feel, it is in what we know. And we know that peace is not found in the absence of problems. It is found in the presence of God. And if God is with you, then no trouble can unseat your peace unless you hand it over. Think of the great leaders, the peacemakers, the ones who walked through fire but never lost their composure. They were not without fear. But they had mastered the art of standing firm. They had learned that true power isn't in shouting, it's in stillness. It's in quiet resolve. It's in the way your presence can calm a room or hold a boundary without ever raising a hand. I believe this is something we all can learn, and we must learn it. Because the world is watching. Your children are watching. Your coworkers are watching. Your enemies are watching. And what they see in you may be the only glimpse of calm they'll ever know. Let your voice be steady. Let your posture be firm. Let your presence speak peace louder than any words. So I say to you, stand tall, speak gently, and carry yourself like someone who's already won the battle within. My friends, if there is one truth that has echoed through every trial, every temptation, and every season of testing in life, it is this: confidence is not given, it is built. It doesn't fall from the sky or arrive with a title. It is for Jip, step by step, day by day, through discipline, commitment, and quiet endurance. You want to act as if nothing bothers you. Then you must strength inside that no one can see, but everyone will feel. That strength comes from discipline, and that discipline gives birth to unshakable confidence. Now, I'm not talking about pride. I'm not talking about the kind of confidence that brags or puffs up its chest. No, the confidence I speak of is quiet, steady, sure. It doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't rise and fall with applause or criticism. It's the kind of confidence that comes from knowing you've done the work when no one was watching, that you've shown up for yourself in the dark hours when it was just your thoughts and your will to keep going. We live in a world that celebrates instant gratification. Everyone wants the fruit, but if you want to tend the soil, we want peace, but we avoid the practice that brings it. We want strength, but we flee from the struggle that forms it. But hear me now, discipline is not the enemy of your freedom. It is the pathway to it. When you discipline your thoughts, when you discipline your body, when you discipline your habits, you begin to walk in a confidence that says, I am not a prisoner to my emotions. I am not at the mercy of my mood. I know who I am. Think of the small things, waking up when you said you would, speaking kindness when irritation knocks at your door, choosing truth when it would be easier to bend it. These moments might seem small, but they are holy. They are laying bricks one by one for a house of strength that no wind can shake. Because every time you do what is right instead of what is easy, you build something eternal inside of you. And let me tell you something, my beloved, when you begin to that kind of inner discipline, it becomes easier to act as if nothing bothers you, not because you're pretending, but because you truly believe this won't break me. You've seen yourself come through enough fire. You've seen yourself get back up enough times. You've kept going when the feelings weren't there. That's where the confidence comes from. That's how peace begins to live inside of you, not as a theory, but as a truth. I remember hearing a man once say that the secret to his peace was in his preparation. He said, I don't fear the test because I've studied every day. And that struck me because it applies to so much more than school. It applies to life. If you've prepared your heart, your mind, your body, if you've trained in the quiet places, then when the storm comes, you won't panic. You'll stand because the storm only exposes what's already within you. And if you've been building, you'll be ready. We admire those who carry themselves with calm, who seem unshaken, but often we forget they've trained for that. They've practiced restraint. They've wrestled their own demons in silence. They've made choices again and again to respond with grace rather than react with emotion. And yes, they failed sometimes, but they kept practicing. Because confidence is not perfection, it's persistence. And the Lord honors that persistence, honors those who keep showing up, who keep sowing seeds of self-control, who keep walking the narrow road even when the wide one calls out. He sees it even when no one else does. He sees the quiet discipline and he blesses it. That's where the confidence comes from. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You've aligned your habits with your values, your actions with your calling, your choices with his truth. And from that place, you can walk into a room, into a conversation, into a confrontation and not be easily moved. You won't need to raise your voice. You won't need to defend yourself because you've already done the work. You've already won the battle within. That's why people look at you and say, they seem so calm. But it's not just calm. Confidence born from discipline. It's peace built on 1,000 quiet choices. So don't wait for the world to give you permission to be strong. Start now. Start with small, steady steps. Wake up early, speak life. Do the hard thing when no one's watching. And soon you'll carry yourself like someone who knows. Nothing out there is bigger than what God has built in here. My beloved, let me tell you something simple but true: the strength to remain calm, the grace to walk with peace, the courage to act as if nothing bothers you. These things do not arrive in a thunderclap. They don't fall from the sky like lightning or burst into your life all at once. No, this kind of strength is planted in the little moments. It is built slowly and faithfully through daily choices, small tests, and ordinary trials. It is forged in silence, not on stages, and it grows when you practice in the quiet corners of life. You want to be someone who can walk in the storm without flinching, someone who holds peace in their face even when the world is trying to shake their soul. Then don't wait for the storm to practice. Start now in the small things. In the way you react when someone cuts you off in traffic, the way you speak when someone interrupts or dismisses you, the way you breathe when your plans don't unfold the way you hope. These are the moments where strength is built, not when the world is watching, but when no one sees but God. There's a lie in our culture that says strength must be loud, must be visible, must make a scene. But I've learned and I believe that real strength is often invisible to the crowd. It happens when you decide quietly, I will not let this bother me. It happens when you hold your tongue instead of lashing out, when you choose grace over grudge, when you carry peace like a shield, even if your heart is still learning how to believe it. I've seen it over and over again. Those who wait for the big moment to show strength are never ready. But those who treat every moment as a classroom are the ones who walk through fire without fear. They've trained themselves in patience. They've learned how to hold their posture in discomfort. They've practiced how to be steady in the presence of pressure. And they didn't do it once. They did it over and over again until it became who they were. And oh, my friends, how much power there is in repetition. When you practice something enough, it becomes your nature. It becomes your default. And I believe that's exactly how God trains us, not by dropping us in battles we're not ready for, but by giving us opportunities each day to practice peace, to build patience, to live with discipline. The world may overlook these moments, but heaven counts every one of them. There's a scripture that says, he who is faithful in little will be faithful in much. And I believe that with all my heart. If you want to be strong when the storm comes, you must be faithful in the calm. If you want to be unbothered when everything goes wrong, you must train your soul to remain still when little things go sideways, because what you practice in peace will be what sustains you in chaos. So I urge you, don't despise the small annoyances. Don't overlook the minor inconveniences. They are not interruptions to your strength. They are invitations to it. Each one is a chance to say, I'm choosing peace today. And the more you choose it, the easier it becomes to walk in it, just like a river carves through stone, not in a moment, but over time. So does a disciplined life shape a steady soul? Let me be clear. This isn't about pretending. This isn't about putting on a mask of calmness while you simmer underneath. This is about transformation. It's about letting every small moment shape you into someone who is truly anchored, not just on the surface, but in the spirit. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens by practice, by grace, by repetition. And don't be discouraged if you slip. We all stumble. We all let the wrong word fly or let frustration get the best of us. But the practice isn't ruined by one mistake. The journey isn't over because of one bad. You simply get back to it. You try again. You show up again. And each time you do, you grow stronger, even if you don't feel it in the moment. That's the mystery and beauty of it all. My dear friends, this life is not about waiting for peace to arrive. It's about walking toward it one step at a time. And every time you choose not to be bothered by what once would have shaken you, every time you pause, every time you respond with grace, you are building something eternal inside you. So I say to you, practice peace in the small moments, and soon it will carry you through the great ones.